Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today, guys, I want to talk a little bit about something really important, UIs. I've seen a lot of horrible UIs. I've got a lot of questions about UIs. Um, so we're going to take a few minutes today. We'll get a quick video up and just give you guys my 2 cents on it. Again, I'm by no means the best player, the best tank. Take everything that I'm saying here as just opinion. Formulate your own ideas and opinions, but I'll give you guys a good start with all that. So, why is a UI important? So, you need to know where your buttons are, where your spells, where your abilities are without hesitation. If you're a healer and you need to do a quick res on somebody and you need to know where that is. You can't just be like, wait, which key, where is it? Where? Okay, there it is. If you're doing a raid or trial, you don't have time to do that. Tanking is also a little bit like that. You need to know where your cooldowns are at all times, which ones are on cooldown, which ones are not. DPS is important. You need to know where your cooldowns are, where your off global cooldowns are, and so that you can weave them into your rotation without losing any time. So set your UIs up, guys, so they make sense to you. Right? So this makes sense to me. You may look at it and go, there's no way. No, that doesn't make any sense. If your UI makes sense to you, great. That's what you need. You need it to be logical in your mind so that when you're fighting and you're going through your rotation, your next ability, your off global cooldown, your emergency buttons, everything is where you think it should be, where it's easy for you. So my method is I sort of group similar items, similar spells and abilities nearby each other. So for example, up here in the larger buttons, you have the majority of the cooldowns. Not all of them, but the important ones that I'm going to need more often, the ones that I'm going to need to see, are they on cooldown? What's the timer like? What's the easiest way I can rotate through them? Down here, you'll just see these are, here's my rotation. You'll see some off global cooldown abilities that I can weave in. So I do a hybrid. I like using my mouse to click buttons. I like using hotkeys for some of them. Whatever works for you guys. Again, that's what's important. Don't look at anybody else's. You can take inspiration from me, from anybody else, and go, oh, I like that. And take bits and pieces from everybody's, cobble them together. As you play with your rotations, working on your targeting dummies in bosses, you'll start getting the hang of, well, maybe this cooldown needs to go here and I need to swap spots for this. I don't recommend doing that a lot. Once you get to 50, 60, sit down at a targeting dummy, really go through your rotation, find out where those are easy to reach, where you think they should be, and keep them there. Don't move them unless you absolutely go, that's a horrible spot, I miss it every time. Then move it. The reason for this is that you can develop muscle memory. Even so, if I switch over to Paladin or, for example, Dark Knight, again, all of my global cooldowns are still up here, all still similar positions. Same thing here, rotations, a couple weaving spells that are off global cooldown in there. I also look at it sort of the way I set up my cell phone, if this makes sense. So when you set your cell phone up, all the buttons that I want to use the most are nearby my thumb, so I don't have to reach for them. Same concept here, right? So I think most of us read from left to right. So if I'm going through my rotation, I'll start here and work my way this way. Same with here. This is also a good time to tell you. So single targets down on this line, AoEs here, and then some other utility spells up here, and then global cooldowns. Again, grouping everything in a way that makes sense, that's logical to you, that you'll know where it's at. Keep your rotation similar here. I like to preload my abilities. So, guys, don't pay any attention to my rotation. I'm not worried about my rotation. I just want to show you guys. So, what I mean by preload spells and why I use a hybrid of clicking and hotkeys is so I can click on my rotation and be ready up here or over here for, I know I'm going to need the stun soon. Okay, there's the stun. It's in there. I didn't even have to stop my rotation or do anything. My mouse was already there. I know that a global cooldown is going to be needed. I need to get a defensive cooldown here soon because Shadow wall is going to be over here in 9 seconds. So I'll keep doing this. I'll pop blood weapon to keep my MP up. But, okay, so this is running out. I know that I need to get another one going. I'll preload Rampart. Click that as soon as that falls off. So you can kind of see there how it makes sense to me and how I can just, I don't have to go far. If you have your UI spread from this corner to this corner, or from down here to up here, and you're using a spell down here, and then you need to go all the way up here, and if you're bouncing all over the screen, you're not being efficient. You're losing time. There's possibility you could be losing time where you're supposed to be weaving in off global cooldowns. You could be missing cooldowns altogether. So you want to keep everything sort of similar and easy to access for whether you're hotkeying, just solo hotkeying, whether you're just clicking, which is fine. Nobody's going to judge you for that. Whatever helps you be the best that you can be. Again, so going up to off global cooldowns. So Dark Knight doesn't have many, well, doesn't have as many as some classes. So Dragoon, which I don't have set up on this guy, Dragoon has an incredible amount of global cooldowns that you're going to want to constantly be weaving in and out of your rotation. Are those in an easy spot? So for me, if I was hybrid clicking and hotkeys, you know, I could have all this bottom row as my rotation, and then up here I could be preloading my off global cooldowns. So as I'm hotkey hitting the keys for my rotation, I could be just going from one to another off global cooldown to weave inside of that. So hopefully that sort of explains everything about the spells and abilities. You'll also see here that my UI is sort of, everything's very centered. The character, no matter what you do, for the most part, is always going to be in the center of your screen. However you move the mouse, wherever you go, right, your character is right here in the center. You normally, mob will be right above you. So by keeping everything in the center, I can use my peripheral vision, there we go, to see ads coming in, to see AoE coming in, to see anything I need to see through that. Meanwhile, focusing on myself, the boss, and my cooldowns, my spells and abilities, where my mouse is. I don't want to have to look way up here to see somebody's health. I don't want to have to look way over here to see the target's health, and then look back down here to see this, because then your eyes are constantly going all the way across the screen. And depending on what resolution and what size screen you have, that could be a lot. It doesn't seem like it, but if you have a huge monitor that's running 4K, that's a long way to travel, guys, right? So you want to keep everything sort of as consolidated and concise as you can. Now, if you're using mainly hotkeys and you're not using the mouse much, and you can just put those hotkeys wherever you want, if you want this nice big viewable screen to see the great graphics, great, that's fine. Again, what it makes sense to you and what works is what you need to do. You just need to figure out, do I want to hotkey everything and see the screen and not really worry about where my buttons are? But again, I like having everything large. I like having a visual representation of when those cooldowns are ready to go again. Spend some time with your target dummies, right? Get in the habit of going through your rotation, popping your cooldowns, weaving in your off global cooldowns. Figure out which works for you. Do you want to hotkey everything? Do you want to click everything? Do you want to do a hybrid like I do? Those are things you need to figure out before you set up your UI to get the best results out of it. I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, my playstyle, I like things centered. Other people you can look at. Some people like just nice big long bars down here. I don't recommend you changing your UI much. Again, you need to develop that muscle memory. Find a target dummy, sit down, go through your rotation, find out what buttons you need to have and where you need to put them, and then go. And I can guarantee you, if you spend 30-45 minutes every once in a while on a target dummy, you'll know exactly where your abilities need to go. And you may do a dungeon, you may do a trial, you may do an extreme, and all of a sudden you realize you've made a horrible mistake. That's fine. That's great, because now you know for sure that these two buttons need to be swapped. This spell's in the completely wrong spot. So again, UI, it's really important. Sit down with a targeting dummy, spend some time there, get used to where your spells and abilities should go. Guys, it's already longer than I wanted this. I wanted this to be a nice quick 5-minute video. It has not been. Shoot me your questions. Let me know what you think about that. If you have any other ideas or tips, jump in the conversation. We'll always have a couple guys online that are new to the game, or some veterans that are in the game that can give you some tips as well. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. Do you like your stuff centered? Do you like it spread out? Yeah, so give me a holler in chat. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you later.